The parable of the weeds, Matthew 13:24, 30, 36, 43. Welcome back. Today, we're diving into the parable of the weeds from Matthew 13:24, 30 and 36, 43. This parable provides a compelling illustration of how good and evil coexist in the world and the ultimate promise of divine justice. Join us as we explore its rich meaning and how it applies to our lives. Part 1. The parable. In this parable, Jesus describes a field where a farmer sows good seed. While everyone sleeps, an enemy comes and sows weeds among the wheat. As both the wheat and the weeds grow together, the workers notice the weeds and ask if they should pull them up. The farmer replies that it's better to let both grow until the harvest. At harvest time, the weeds will be gathered, burned, and the wheat collected into the barn. The weeds represent the children of the evil one, while the wheat symbolizes the children of the kingdom. The harvest signifies the end of the age when God will separate the righteous from the wicked. The burning of the weeds represents the final judgment and the fate of those who have rejected righteousness. Part 2. The meaning. The parable of the weeds illustrates the reality that good and evil exist side by side in the world. It addresses the problem of evil and suffering, showing that God allows both to coexist for a time. The ultimate promise is that there will be a clear separation and judgment at the end of the age. Let's break down the key elements. The field. The field represents the world. It is a place where both good and evil are present, and where God's kingdom and the forces of evil coexist. The wheat. The wheat represents the righteous, those who live according to God's will and bear fruit for his kingdom. The weeds. The weeds symbolize the wicked, those who live in opposition to God's ways and whose actions cause harm and disruption. The harvest. The harvest symbolizes the end of the world when God will judge the living and the dead, separating the righteous from the wicked. The burning of the weeds. The burning represents the final judgment, where the wicked will face the consequences of their actions, while the righteous will be rewarded. Part 3. Application. This parable calls us to patience and trust in God's justice. It reminds us that even though evil seems to thrive alongside good, God is sovereign and will bring about justice in his time. Here are some practical applications. Patience in injustice. When faced with injustice or suffering, remember that God's timing is perfect. Trust that he will ultimately address wrongs and bring about justice. Focus on righteous living. Instead of being consumed by the presence of evil, focus on living righteously and contributing to the growth of God's kingdom. Encouragement in trials. Understand that trials and challenges are part of the process of growing in faith. They do not negate the presence of God or his plans for justice. Part 4. Personal reflection. Reflect on areas of your life where you might be struggling with patience or justice. How can you better trust in God's timing and his plans for justice? Consider how you can contribute positively to God's kingdom despite the presence of evil. What actions can you take to align yourself more closely with his will? Conclusion. Thank you for joining us to explore the parable of the weeds. We hope this detailed study has provided you with a deeper understanding of the coexistence of good and evil and the promise of divine justice. If you found this video insightful, please like and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of Jesus' teachings. Stay tuned as we continue to delve into the rich messages of the parables and their significance for our lives.